I didn't know that it was
Not in the rule that they have
that they have to
that it will
switch out.
rotate chairs. No.
There was talk about it, because that way they're not totally off the committee.
I did, when I looked at everybody's committees, I made sure that every person had the speaking part, whether it be a liaison or board chair. So I did consider that.
All I'm saying, I'm not opposed to what I'm the chair of. If somebody else wanted to be the chair, because they think they can do better, that's great, say something now. That's all I'm saying.
Everybody thinks their piece, right?
Mhm.
At your meeting.
Yeah, pretty much.
Brittany, are you okay with being that liaison to the sports initiative board?
I saw that when I have to ask them when they like meeting. So
True.
every single meeting they've had, I haven't been able to get to because of work.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So
Their meetings are normally at 7, because Janetti works.
yeah,
Which is really the main reason it's conflicting with me. The one, not this past one, the one before, I got home and my alarm to wake up was going off.
what day of the week do they usually meet on?
They vary it based on their schedules. So this
Yeah.
next one, which that includes like when you're there, they will ask what your schedule is, like what day you have free.
Yeah.
But the next one's Wednesday, January 24th at 7.
I don't think I have anything. It would just be like my boss switched me to closing on Wednesdays.
Mm.
So
Yeah, and we can like Jessica said, they're working with everyone's schedules, so I don't see why they
Right,
couldn't
if they
take
don't
yours
have a
into account
day.
too.
yeah, if they don't have a day like set,
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I can get a hold of them.
Because they are, right now they're meeting a lot just to get signups and get everything going, to get caught up. But they will be backing off of, I would assume, to monthly and then quarterly.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it should be fine.
And then like same thing for like the meetings and their times, I guess when each committee meets, they can discuss if they need to or want to change any of those normal times up. Okay, awesome. I think Paul's here to walk us through the 13316 Main Street nuisance. Maybe, right?
Well, again,
Okay.
mhm.
there is a memo that he had wrote up, if you guys read it or not.
So I just have a question. Do committee assignments have to be approved by council?
I think that the chair people too, thank you, or the chair people do, so.
I think that
Let's-
was that the new rule we
I
passed?
thought that was a new rule.
Let me see here. The council rules are right there.
The chairperson shall be subject to approval of council.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the chairs?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Do we have some discussion?
Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable, the chair.
All right. Any opposed? All right. Okay, so the Main Street nuisance. Any further discussion about that?
Well, I understand that council at the last meeting declared it to be a nuisance, which would trigger me to go ahead and file the complaint. However, there is no one to file. The owner passed away. No estate has ever been opened, so there's no executor. I did some research and there are, I forget how many,
A lot.
Yeah.
15 or 17
Mhm.
kids or something
14
like
kids,
that.
seven grandchildren.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Couple times.
All over the country. I tracked down half or so of them. But there are 5 or 6 that I just can't
You
track
stopped
down.
billing after 2, right?
Pardon?
You stopped billing after finding.
Yeah, right. And, so there's really no one to file a complaint against.
But how is that? How can we move forward as a village, knowing that somebody, it's not owned by somebody, right? But it's being rented, but they still have to live up to a standard that we.
Is it being rented?
There's
There's someone living in there.
We don't know who.
We-
Right,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's a standard. I can understand about the one house on Main Street, the guy that, died in the house, I mean, and nobody lives there. I get that. But there's somebody actively living in this house.
We don't know whether it's squatters or we don't know whether it's
What can
relatives.
we do? Because we also get complaints from other various people saying, hey, what's the deal? And now our hands are tied because it's not owned by nobody, but
Right.
what's the next step? So you can tell if somebody's living there.
So I can tell you, a similar thing happened in the quarter where someone died. The place was vacant for years. The kids never opened in the state. I went ahead and applied to be the executor of the estate. Court approved me. I sold the property, got it cleaned up, sold the property. And the problem is I'll never do that again. It was a disaster. It was a nightmare.
Sure.
Yeah. It would even be more so with 14 kids to track down. The court's never going to approve me to be the executor without the consents of all the heirs. And it would be impossible to get that consent.
What's the next one?
The only thing I can think of is that you get the county involved. They're delinquent on their taxes. The problem with that is the taxes are so low that it's not economically efficient for the county prosecutor to just like that home to foreclose on because they're not going to recover it.
does,
Are they getting a bill from Northwest Water and Sewer? Do you know?
I don't
Yes.
know.
They are getting one, and it's being paid obviously, or they would shut off.
yeah,
On and off
No, okay.
every month. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The water is on and off every month.
Yeah.
but someone's paying.
Someone's not paying it and then someone pays it.
was
'Cause I
just
get the
looking for
list.
The county to get involved for inhabitable.
Well,
If are they violating, sorry, I don't drive that way very often. Are they violating parts of our zoning code?
Oh, yeah.
That was the reason I got brought up to the.
Right, that's what I thought. So
Nobody's answering the door. I've sent the letters, they get returned. We've done everything we do.
even if
Now,
no one puts a letter on the
different.
door,
done that yet.
It's different from the house on Walnut Street where,
right,
we mowed the grass. It's been through all this. These two people do mow the grass. And had a grass complaint. So therefore we haven't assessed of no taxes on it, on that portion of that I believe. But what are we allowed to do to make them? What's the next step?
I guess it would be nice to know whether it is family that lives in it. Because that's one thing.
What would it be?
If it's not family and family is receiving rent payment somewhere, then you have a direction.
Yeah, I suppose you could file the citation against the tenant. If we can find out that there's a,
That may smoke out who they're paying the rent to.
but I have no idea how to figure that out. Those are private agreements.
but even,
Somebody may tell you.
even then, if that happens and then say they move on, from that location, we're still like stuck
Oh,
with
yeah.
that property. So, I mean, is it,
In other
Yeah, all
words, at
you're
least
gonna
they're
get is an
mowing.
order.
yeah, does,
All you're gonna have is an order.
does
It
the,
doesn't do
does
anything.
the auditor or prosecutor have the ability to grant us to remedy some of the things?
So in Lucas County, we have the provision where you can forfeit the property to the county land bank. But there again, you have to have an executor. You have to have someone who either consents to it or takes the action to do it. We don't have that here.
And being how we can't declare it a nuisance theoretically, we can't fix what needs to be fixed, taking care of the trash that needs to be taken care of.
Absent an emergency.
Nuts.
I'm certainly glad I'm not their neighbor.
Well, the neighbors are the ones who's gonna call us and make action on it.
Yeah.
What to do about
Yeah,
it.
He's been living with it for years.
yeah.
So the process that's put in place now is the sheriff's sale.
I don't think they're gonna do it because they've got to send out notices
Yeah.
too.
I'm not fine with it.
You know, they, to do the foreclosure, they have to file a complaint.
Even with a,
Against whom do they file?
Is there money owed against the property?
Yeah, but it's not much.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But even like, again, they have the same problem that you have. They don't have anyone to name as a defendant.
so do the kids have the ability to claim it?
Don't know.
Hmm.
It's not a probate.
Someone's gonna have to open a probate state though.
And
And the
people would probably, I'm not getting wrapped up into that, because it might
Right.
cost them more than what's tonight. It's a $200,000 house. It's a $30,000 house, at least with the property. That's it. I mean,
If they wanted to do it, they would have done it by now.
yeah.
Mhm.
They're just washing their hands of it.
So it's forever in limbo,
Yes,
but
until someone's willing to step up and be an executor.
Can we just continuously slap notices on the door?
As long as
Maybe
the
that-
issue is documented and.
Maybe that'll, if we go up there and slap a notice on the door saying, you need to clean up, maybe that'll urge them along to get.
Hasn't phased them to this point.
Well, yeah, I haven't put any on the door though.
So would the people living there be able to call the sheriff and say that somebody's trespassing on their property?
So you can go to the front door and post on the door. You
Okay,
just
but
can't
like-
wander around the yard. and
But
through
like,
windows and
What
things
would
like
be
that.
the consequence? Because if they try to call the sheriff and say somebody's trespassing on my property, that's them taking ownership of that property.
Right, you still don't have a defendant. They don't own the property.
Okay,
But you have you have someone making the complaint.
Is there a
You have someone
way,
making the complaint.
yeah, like there's, because like if somebody just goes and cleans up their property for them and just throws stuff away for them,
That's trespass.
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's trespass.
Whether they would complain about that.
yeah, it's like,
no one to press charges. Is
that's
that
what
what
I'm
you're
saying,
saying?
like, people, who's gonna press charges against you? Because they would have to claim that it's their property, because I recently had a trespassing incident where the person calling the sheriff wasn't allowed to do anything unless I was physically there. Because I was the owner of the property and they were technically my tenant, even though it was my boyfriend. So like,
Howard, do you know who's living in it?
One of the kids' daughters.
So it is one of the kids'
Grandchild.
grandchild.
Would-
Wrong time.
No, I think you remember.
So, I mean, does she have any legal, right?
She has an obligation to prevent a nuisance. Because you can't maintain a nuisance. But again, you get an order, but what does that do?
Well, I mean,
Unless you get an order against the owner that allows you to recover the costs of maintaining the nuisance.
well, our ordinance does lay out that, if the tenant is found guilty, that they could get a ticket. Well, they have to pay a fine. I'm assuming they wouldn't want to do that over and over.
$100, but then you gotta refile each time.
Yeah,
The filing fee alone is more.
Yeah.
well,
The people that did live in there moved out. The daughter went back in because they said if somebody was living in it, nobody could take it. That was what I was told. The people that moved out was Tony McAfee and his wife, which live in Bradner now. And,
so
they
you,
moved over there.
so do you have a dialogue open with her? Have you tried opening a dialogue with her?
village willing to pay.
You're
the cost
dealing
of
with a
running
McAfee, so you're not gaining very much.
Another option.
If you want to get their consent, the current residents' consent to go ahead and abate the nuisance at your cost. Maybe she'd be
And
willing
clean
to
it
do
mess
that.
up.
So in addition to posting a notice, do you think it's a bad idea to literally knock on their door and try to start a dialogue?
I don't think that's a bad idea. Again, if she consents to you coming in and abating the nuisance, great, but you're not gonna recover the cost of that.
We're just gonna remedy the debris at our cost and then till the next person comes in and moves in.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean,
It could be an ongoing
Yeah.
thing. They're all the,
But that's stuff
gonna come in and clean it up all
Stuff
over.
right now, it's been for a long time though. It's been there as long as I've been working here.
Yeah.
Probably been there.
That's
before that.
because the owner's been deceased probably that long.
Yeah.
How much stroke could we get if they actually had something that is deemable for the health department? Now it's county based.
Mhm.
But again,
So,
the complaint again,
well, so if you were, I mean, do you think that you were talking about there's this thing in Lucas County that you can do? Who would you petition to get something like that done in Wood County?
I don't think Wood County
yeah,
has.
I don't think, and even the situation in Lucas County, I've done it, but I was the executor.
Right. And that-
Oh, that's right. You said that solution was to become the executor.
The executor forfeit the property to the land bank, yeah. Any of you can serve.
Not after what you said.
What's that?
Want to be the executor of that property?
I told you in here one day what I thought of that property. What they was in there a month ago, took all the garbage bags and chased all the possums and raccoons and everything out. Rebagged everything and put it right back in the same spot, never hauled it off the property.
And that's where I was coming from as far as health department goes. I mean, like you said, I know you don't have an owner or what have you, but.
The health department's a little different because you're not recovering costs.
Right.
You're issuing out.
I mean, I mean, you know for a fact that there's possum, whatever. in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So from the vermin standpoint, we may have a way to go with the health department.
And that would require the health department to take it seriously.
Do you know the name of the people that originally lived there that died?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's no executor, to the estate.
Right. No problem.
And so,
Paul's done extensive research.
last meeting, we declared it a nuisance. However, it's been determined that there's no one to serve the nuisance against.
Well, I think where I would start with the McAfees that live over in Bradner, Wayne. They live on, Pemberville Road.
Yeah, that's where the nuisance letters have been going to.
What is
That's where the
their,
letters have been going to?
what's their stake? Are they family?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
One of them
daughter.
is a granddaughter. I
Granddaughter?
mean, I don't know how you're gonna work this out. There's 16 kids in that family.
Yeah.
I think Paul said so. But
Rick's got it.
Paul says 14 kids, 36 grandchildren, 77 grandchildren and 13 great grandchildren. So there's a crap ton of people there that could be the executor at some point and choose.
But
not
they don't
to.
want. Yeah.
So there,
I wouldn't.
yeah.
no,
So I mean, he's done the research, has found out the family dynamic, but there's nobody saying, hey, I want to be in charge.
I think we.
Until
need to
nobody
go-
says, I want to be in charge, we're kind of SOL.
I think we need to go health department. That way,
If there's someone living.
Howard,
for sure.
well, and as a witness, knowing what is running in and out of there. I mean, we have to act. based
Well,
on
there's
that.
more than raccoons running in and out of there.
But what you're saying is that we could go pick up trash bags.
At our cost.
At your cost, but you're gonna need her consent, whoever's living there.
To do it.
Just knock on the door and say, we're willing to help you out here.
But that's a clock that we can't,
Well, I'm not talking about, like 14 dump loads, but maybe like getting some of the crap out of there so that,
Do we need,
he's not.
do we need written consent or is verbal?
$100 for a dump, I would want to give something. Pay for a dumpster and then get some volunteers and.
Okay, well, that's,
It sounds like a citizen died and then the family took the house. Now she's just kind of stuck and doesn't have money to fix it. Everybody's yelling at her to fix it. Nobody's offering her help.
yeah,
Like, kind of just sounds like somebody needs to be like, hey, do you need a hand with this?
that might be worth it, Howard's literally been living with it for years.
In years.
And
You might want to start with Barb Whitford, lives over here on Broadway.
Oh, we already did. She's not happy about being contacted about it. She came in here yelling at me one day. She doesn't want to be a part of any of it.
I've got to go. Is there any other issues that you guys need to?
I don't think so. No, thank you.
You're not gonna make it.
No, I know. I told him I might be late. All right.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Well, I think there needs to be some more discussion on how to move forward, because if we, and I'm not opposed, if, like you said, if we put a dumpster out, we go over there, how much are we willing to clean this property up for somebody to turn around and how many times are we gonna do it? If we clean up the property enough for somebody else could live there, could we take all the bull crap out of it? I don't think we should take anything out of anybody's house, first of all. And if we clean up the outside, it doesn't solve no problem.
Exactly.
Get the problem until you get the inside solved, because that's where the four wall and the filter.
Well, the biggest thing by going with the health department, and this is the main thing, is you've got the vermin running in and out of there. And that is a direct link to have them go in and at least proclaim it, whatever it is. And then if we have to go in and help clean it up, we'll have to consider that.
If they declare,
Let me interrupt you just a minute. That house is not safe to be living in.
I get it.
Well, I know.
I get it.
Yeah.
But somebody is.
Yes.
But
There's
we
not,
can't do
there's
nothing
not
about
a piece of drywall in that house.
I get it.
You can walk from one room to the other right through the wall.
I get it. But there's somebody living there.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. We have
no recourse.
We have no recourse. Health department, perfect example, turn them in. They can come up there and physically put a red tag, inoperable or whatever, due to health code, whatever,
Right.
and not have them. That's not on us. But what happens when that does happen? How often? Does it go 60 days, 90 days, a year
I
of
think-
this thing? And now that the
I think
process,
if it goes to the health department, though, it forces it to be cleaned up and stop the vermin from running through the place. That has to be done.
I get
And
it.
it has to be, like closing up the crawl space, or closing up windows, or whatever it is, it's allowing these animals and vermin in. I just think that's the first place you should go in order to get an action against it.
I guess,
Raccoons come out of the chimney, which is not working, but they're in there.
Oh, yeah.
In that wood area on the back that they got built on the back, they got them coming in and out of there.
I think the health department, I don't know how it is currently, is also the problem. I mean, we have that other nuisance on Russ Street that's got holes in the roof and the raccoons crawling in and out of it, and they haven't done anything about that either.
Have they tagged it?
I have no idea, but I know
they
there's.
don't tag very much.
yeah,
Well, if it's
I'm
something
thinking,
dangerous, from that aspect.
I'm thinking that, there's no reason that we shouldn't try to get the health department
I'm not
involved.
saying that.
I'm agreeing with
We're
you,
done.
but I don't know. I think, Brittany kind of has a point, is like, ultimately what we're trying to do right now is to get the property cleaned up. And, decision to knock on the door and start a dialogue and offer some help, is not, a lifelong lifeline. It's just, an attempt to, kickstart, some kind of action.
One-time help is a good idea.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Okay. How long are we gonna go with it?
One time.
One time.
We're gonna do it.
Until the next time. Because
Well-
that's what I'm saying, until the next time.
Well, the idea, you're
There's nobody holding.
you're hedging your bets that you're going to open a dialogue and kind of maybe find a resolution through
See, I
The
just.
only resolution is say, hey, I'm gonna need you to take the ownership of this house and sign it back off to somebody else or whatever. And then, because there's no owner.
Yeah,
But it
or,
could be all the dialogue that it is, like, it doesn't have to be us paying to go in and clean it. It can just be like, hey, are you aware of even what's happening or that your property is even being discussed right now? Are you aware that's not even your property? Like, we can help you
start with that.
get in contact with people to make it your property. Then if that happens, you're liable for all these things.
Or how about if you are going to squat, don't build up trash. I mean, I'm sure a lot of that is just existing, right? I mean, a lot of the issue is just what's been there for,
They don't have, garbage pickup or
That's
anything
what
like that.
well,
Just
maybe,
what they bag up and throw in that.
maybe they can throw a bag to Howard every other week.
Maybe I can get out of the boat again, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not really I mean, you still have, whether you clean it or not, you still have the raccoons, you still have.
I think you're doing both. I think.
Well, yeah, and making them aware that ordinance exists, because we do have a village ordinance that says you have to have that
So why
stuff
don't we
ordered
just
up.
go ahead and contact the health department, get a meeting down with you. With Harold and a representative of the health department, figure out a game plan on the best answer to this, or remedy to this action, whether we're going to meet a couple times and then try to open the dialogue and then come back with some type of plan, because I don't feel that we should vote to apply money to this thing for nothing. I think we should go to the health department, those two people with Harold, Stephanie, Harold, come up with a plan on how we can get this resolved via our ordinances, via what they are allowed to do, and then revisit it in a couple.
I'm sure they're not gonna be really excited about the fact that there's animals running through.
But the health department's been involved with the house on Rush Street, and they haven't done nothing to it.
Well,
Neither have we, though.
exactly.
There's nothing we can do. We're not.
Was there somebody living in the house on West Street?
No,
I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
Why Paul said get the
Well-
health department involved. Is
Yeah, these people can
living
get evicted out. Guess what? Now we still have the property. I'm not
Yeah.
care less about who's living there. We still have the property that we have no control over. About who lives there, who put utilities in, because, we don't have control over it. We don't have power. We don't have electric anymore. Water, so. There's just nothing we can do about it.
That'd be expensive than turning the water on.
The granddaughter decided over, like, becoming an executive.
Guess who's good at talking to people?
Yeah, I heard that right now.
we, how about this? We'll reach out to the health department, and if they can get a representative with us in the next couple weeks, then we'll do what you said.
Can we use you as a witness for the vermin running through the place?
You don't happen to have any video of that, do you?
No.
And
Can you get some?
then if we don't get any
I was
traction,
trapping them, and I should have trapped them. When I was trapping them, I should have took pictures of them, but I didn't.
Yeah. If we don't get any traction from them, then we'll talk about knocking on their door and making them aware and going from there.
So who's contacting the health department then?
I'll do it between like me and Ken. We've been talking about like getting something formal set up with them anyway,
With,
the health department.
we don't have anything formally set up with them?
Well,
Let's follow through for the health.
yeah, I mean, Ken
Standard.
drops things off to them and then just gets no update, and so, he's talked about, meeting with them and just, trying to figure out some way where we could be kept in the loop. So. Anything to add?
Just the place they're living in Pembroke or Bradford looked just as bad as this one over here. But that's nothing to do with you guys. I mean, it follows them every place they go.
Well, it sounds like they're not very dependable then anyway.
No.
You're interested in the boat?
No, I don't want the boat.
Oh.
I picked up if it blows in my yard, I put it in their boat.
Oh. I bet you could make a pretty nice boat.
You'd have to get rid of the stuff you keep on putting.
I had a hole about that big in the bottom of it. But
It's passive. It's not worth trying to figure.
You want the boat?
No, I already got enough boats. I don't need no more.
Okay, moving on then.
Who owns the house on Rush Street?
I'd have to look it up.
Lady.
Yeah.
That's been a mess.
Yeah, well, that one's even more frustrating because we are in contact with her.
Mhm.
And we do assess the taxes. 'cause we
Yeah,
do
that
clean
one
up
we
the
do
yard.
have a,
These people,
Just let us mow it and they don't worry about it.
I mean, we're trying to clean the village up and make it,
Right,
where people want to come in and live.
I get it.
absolutely, yeah. Well, which is why I think, if it does come down to it, maybe a $200 investment and a little community effort, could go a long way. Just getting back to ground zero, but hopefully we don't have to.
It's gonna come down to ground zero here pretty soon. I'm sure of it. Next 4 or 5 years, I'm sure that thing will eventually fall to the ground.
Howard don't want to live next to it for now.
You don't have trees around it. Ever have trees around it?
Yeah, the ones that hadn't moved down, they took out in the backyard, brush pickup, instead of putting out along the street, while they piled it in the back.
I think everyone knows that we lost a citizen who served as council member and mayor, Ralph DeWitt. And we've kind of done this before for, people who have served basically decades. And so I just wanted to read this proclamation for Ralph. Whereas Ralph Hoot DeWitt has been recognized by the community as an exemplary citizen and an outstanding community member. And whereas the dedicated years of service of Ralph DeWitt to the village of Weston could be described with respect, leadership, support, cooperation, honesty, and self-discipline. And whereas the Honorable Ralph DeWitt served in the role of mayor, dedicating and volunteering his time, sweat, and tears to provide leadership to the village of Weston. And whereas the Honorable Ralph DeWitt served in the role of council member, taking lead to provide his years of expertise to making vital decisions for the village of Weston. And whereas Ralph DeWitt has maintained a legacy in the community, sharing his knowledge and stories of Weston with family, friends, and fellow citizens, I hereby proclaim Ralph E. Hoot DeWitt as a citizen held in high regard in the village of Weston, and urge all citizens to take Hoot's lead in the service, support, and dedication that he has provided to the community for decades. And we'll give family a copy of that. I know Gary had brought up like flowers for the funeral. Like obviously that's gone, but if anyone is interested, I was gonna put some money myself towards a cemetery tree. That was kind of the request. If there were any kind of donations, that it be in the cemetery memorial tree fund. I had to educate myself on how that worked. It's apparently like every $400, basically, right?
I haven't experienced how that works.
Okay.
The tree fund, it's been kind of inactive for quite some time.
Okay. So if anyone's interested,
When's
like,
that fund gonna start?
well, I would just, anyone who's interested, maybe we could just pool our money together and try to go towards $400 or hit $400 or, whatever. But I read through the thing that's on the website and I think it's basically like the tree costs, $400 to put out there because it's a pretty decent sized tree, and then it gets like a little plaque. And so it, basically costs them $400.
When you do it, I'll donate money.
Okay. Thank you.
Me too.
All right. Thanks. Then, I did, I want to provide, you guys with like a detailed like overview of the finances. But we're still kind of finishing them up, but I do have just something brief here. Looking at the end of the year, it seems to indicate a strong position for growth and opportunity. Each of the funds have revenues that are roughly equal to or exceeding a 6-year average. That would be every fund except for sorry, one second. Okay, so the past 6 years we have like an average for each of the revenues and expenditures. And so this year, each of our funds exceeded our average revenue, except for baseball by $200, which is, just kind of a drop in the bucket. Even that was, $12,000 in revenue, just down a little bit from the previous year. But yeah, so revenues are up all across the board. Expenditures are pretty average, going across the board. We, did see, an increase in streets and general fund, but, the result of that, still, keeps even our cash balance, higher than, it's been in any of the 7 or 6 years past, 7, including 2023. And so specifically in the general fund, we saw revenue of over 448,000, which is an increase of 62,000 from last year. And so that's the highest revenue that's been recorded in the past 6 years. And its expenditures, like I said, draw close to the 6-year average of 349,000. They ended up being 359,000. So they're 10,000 higher than the average. And that's contrasting the previous year where it was 414,000. And in that past 6 years, the lowest amount for expenditures would have been in the year 2020 when it was only 285,000. And so that fund balance is now 568,000, which is the highest balance that we've had in at least the past 6 years, up from a low in 2018 of 330,000. So, just from 2018, there's, $238,000 in our general fund, that was not there in 2018. I think I'll leave it at that. I do plan on expanding on that. Try to break down like where some of the expenditures were. I also had a thought that, it would be, interesting to report, kind of where the expenditures met the appropriations for that specific thing versus where they, didn't, whether because they were just allocated just in case or, something, didn't, happen like, maybe like storm sewer, we've, allocated more than we were, able to get done. So just to identify some things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that overall, we have more, more cash on hand than we've had in previous years, and revenues are exceeding expenditures. Any questions?
No, there's a lot of comments that I'll say, but
I'll entertain a couple comments.
not gonna-
Okay.
well, one I should say.
Yeah.
It's not to pick on, I'm not picking on Stephanie. But a lot of that on the appropriations, but it also depends on what the fiscal officer is appropriating at any given time, which as you well know, we also pad that so that she doesn't have to do reappropriations and things of that nature.
Sure.
So let's just clarify that there's a number of asterisks in what you're telling us.
But I mean, what is asterisk? All of the figures that
I
I cited
Stephanie-
were-
I read
were-
what Stephanie.
were revenues and expenditures.
I
I
read
didn't.
with Stephanie all the time, what she had, the UA, and that's what I read. I don't interpret it other than what the account actually states. That's my point. And I think you, in what you were saying about Ralph DeWitt and whatever, you can thank your forefathers for having the ideals and the vision to take the water and sewer situation and deal with it the way that it was done. And other items that come back then, big decisions that were made in the sewer plant and what have you, because you no longer have that to deal with anymore. If you had that to deal with, it'd be a whole different scenario right now. So count your blessings.
Okay. Anything else? All right, Stephanie, anything?
Check. In the packet that went around, you probably saw that the sheriff's office is increasing their rates again. I put that on the safety agenda for them to discuss.
Is there anything to discuss?
I mean, whatever you want to discuss, I guess, you know.
We're handling title now,
Yeah.
too. I mean, they raise it up, they have no choice.
Yeah.
Well, you have a choice. You can cut hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're with that, so, I mean, if there's,
I wouldn't suggest that.
yeah, if there's nothing that you want to discuss, I plan on just amending appropriations to fit that in, and
What's the overall? I can't remember what.
right now,
Did they just do that like a year ago,
Yes.
November, October of last year?
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and that's what I was going to say is, there might be just some value in at least, making ourselves heard that, hey, like usually this is every other year at the,
Well,
at the most,
We did talk to him. We had him out at 60
Yeah.
million. And we talked to him about that. What they are up against is they are up against the labor rates and things that.
I'm sure. Sure.
And that's what this raise is reflecting directly.
Yeah.
100, that's all they did. They did not put anything else in there.
Yeah,
I
it's-
know that.
it's
for a
really
fact.
just their salary
Yes.
and vehicle usage,
That's correct. So
yeah.
where you go?
We went to that communications meeting there
Yes.
and he's our sheriff. He's our sheriff. And, and we gotta thank the county commissioners for giving us the
Yeah.
$2.8 million of ARPA money to put in communications that basically are going that whole money is going to their council. You know, their council and all their vehicles, but yet the identities like us still have to pay fees to be a part of their system. So, I mean,
Well, I guess, you know, based on that, that was kind of my point is, you know, if they're not hearing us, you know, then it does make it easier for them just
Oh,
to,
no, they're hearing from us. They know.
okay.
yeah, it's,
Known him for a long time.
I don't know, it's either
But
cut
it's-
the hours, I mean, the labor rate, the personal rates and then health insurance and all that sort of stuff. There's nothing we can do about that.
And I'll be quite honest with you, being the father of a son that worked for the Wood County Sheriff's Department, they don't get paid enough. I'll tell you that right now. They are one of the lower paid ones in Ohio. So I can't argue.
I mean, we just seeing the minimum that we have to pay for someone to be here 40 hours a week. We couldn't afford it if we had our.
No. I know all about that.
Consideration.
We have a good deal, I would say.
A very good deal.
The police pursuit Impalas that they used to drive 20 years ago cost $35,000. The $90,000 Explorers they drive now.
Yeah.
It comes with the cost.
Mhm.
It's just not a good situation all the way around.
And then, I guess that reflects I'm trying not to take off, that reflects, what you were trying to say about how the revenues are up and the expenditures are down. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's.
I was just reporting.
I know,
that.
I get that, but I'm just saying, it's coming.
We can't.
You know,
continue.
I mean, luckily revenues continue to increase, you know, so I mean, expenditures always go up, you know.
The percentage is always there, but
Yeah,
this goes up, you just don't see it because the percentage is still the same. So, anyways, sorry.
well, revenues up, expenditures average. Good sign.
Till we get 10 more houses like down there, then the revenues won't be up.
Well, but we'll have taken care of 10 houses.
The other thing I have was I just wanted to, kind of get last we, did or discussed the Hometown Heroes banners. We said we'd kind of get back on it in January. I know Rob and I talked about the cost, and the cost that we kind of did come up with seems pretty normal.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure we were still okay with doing that. I was gonna update the flyer with an amount, and I came up with $110, which covers the banner and the shipping.
Because we're paying for the mountain.
And we are paying for the mounts, which are $74 before shipping right now, a piece. So when we put out the informational thing, 6 people responded,
That's good.
interested, so we at least have 6.
It's good.
Maybe once the price is out there, we might get more, because
I'm sure you.
And what are we remind me, what are we on the hook for?
The brackets.
The hook is kind of bad.
The brackets and the installation.
So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so we're out, whatever, but the people who sponsor are out the most.
Yeah, so how it'll be done, based on talking to other communities, is we'll take that money in as revenue. What I planned on doing, just to show it better, was when we get that in, we would amend appropriations in whatever line item we see fit. Maybe we'll make a special one.
Well, I think
And-
something like that, you would almost, I would
Yep.
think that you almost have a special one, that way there's no confusion
Yeah.
on where the money went.
So that's what we plan on doing. That's why I kind of had like a deadline so that we can amend appropriations properly and do all that, because I'll have to certify that revenue with the county and all that good
Good
stuff.
to you.
Yeah.
You know what street you're putting it on? for?
We're thinking Taylor Street, and if we get a bunch, I mean,
I mean, are there areas in downtown that you can do it?
we
Yeah,
have
I
our,
don't know.
we have our normal banners that are downtown.
Taylor Street is more traveled.
Yeah,
No,
Center Street was another one.
I'm just trying to,
No, I
for the business district or whatever, trying to figure out what's best.
But even Tontogany puts theirs down.
No, that's
Antagony.
Antagony.
Right, I know.
Tontogany Creek, yeah.
That's a-
Well, yeah, if anyone has any
We can
suggestions
figure
on,
out how
I,
to mount it to the poles, I mean.
Yeah, these
on top of-
brackets are specific for telephone
Oh,
poles,
are they?
so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good idea.
You don't have poles. That's why I was saying that. I don't know.
We was thinking if we do them on Taylor, it'll be opposite of where the flags are. So then that way, when you put the flags up, then you'll have every other one that they don't
I think
have.
that's how it came, it was where you flags, but the flag, Taylor and center, and they're like,
On
can
the
put the,
flagpole. And if we can do them every other flagpole, I think it would look pretty neat.
Trying to think how many has up. They probably don't have 6 of them. I don't believe. They probably got 5, maybe 4 or 5 that I've seen.
They up all year long, or is it just for the,
I think we're planning on doing a Memorial Day to, Veterans Day. That way they last longer. You know, constantly go back to the person like, hey, your banner went bad. You want to buy another one, or do we cover that cost if it goes bad? I guess that's something we
I
can,
think like in the first
Well-
year, we can cover the cost, but after that.
yeah. Yeah, in the first year, yeah. I know they have a warranty. I have to double check it, but they do have one, but if you keep them up constant, their warranty.
yeah,
It
the,
goes to-
the
yeah.
cold will kill them pretty quick. They get brittle and,
If you get them to last 3 years, you'll be doing good.
yeah, I would say you should get 3 years if you do that,
Yeah.
that time period.
3 years is about.
Yeah, that's kind of, our street banners last a lot longer now that we have multiple seasons
Yeah.
and we rotate them out,
Is it
so.
something that it's a one-time fee for, where they have to pay every year to put their,
No.
No, it's a one time, so they buy the banner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, maybe we should set that expectation. We should just say, hey, we expect these to last, you know,
Yeah.
3,
3 years.
at least 3 years. Everyone's still cool with that project, yeah.
okay. I got a call from the manager lady at the trailer park. She has set up I don't know, I guess you'd call it a satellite location for dog licenses, so they have that set up for the January 30th from 1:30 to 3:30. And it's located on the senior side clubhouse. I don't see it listed on the dog warden's website, so I don't
Well,
know
that's kind
how.
of weird how they're doing that, isn't it?
Yeah, so I don't want to promote it too much until I see it on the dog warden's website.
How are they collecting government funds?
Well,
They must have some,
someone from me that.
Oh,
on the satellite, yeah, I know. Haskell has. 1:30 to 3:30, because the deadline to get
You had probably better if it was done.
one is the end of the month.
mine's good for life. And I got my fingers crossed that he's gonna last 6 years, right? So,
And then the last thing I have is I did W-2s today, so all of your guys' is in your mailbox if you haven't seen it yet.
I'll pay to get in our mailbox.
That's all I had.
You too.
Harold, anything for council?
Yeah, I just got, a quote, one quote. I'm working on trying to find another place to do the, reservoir out there. I got one from D&D Landscaping and their quote was like $2,300 to,
Hydro seed,
Hydro
grass
seed.
and hydro seed.
yeah. So I'm gonna see if I can't find somebody that might be a little cheaper, you know, for sure, but
Cheap is not always the best.
I know.
Warranties.
Well, we're got in contact with his son to see if he can come out and do it. So.
Through that same company?
Through the same company, but Gary's son do it and not
Some random,
some random kid that they decided to have come out and do it. If Gary said if his son came out and did it, it would be done right. And,
Some of them like
Yeah.
D&D, if they're doing hydro seed, they do warrant that.
yeah,
Some do, some
it's
don't.
a hydro seed,
Hydro seed and split
split seed and hydro seed.
what's the extent of like,
The whole area that was cut down, or we cut it down up on top too.
including kind of south of the ramp?
And that area south of the ramp, and then we had said something about on the top. On the south side where it's got those dips in it over there that we was gonna try and get that leveled off and then have them do what they need back there to get it taken care
Are
of.
they gonna address it before they hydro seed it? Is that part of their
Yeah,
quote?
it was $750 for the dressing and then 15 or 1,300 for the rest of it, so.
Are there any other areas on our lands that you think could use some,
Oh, create more grass for him to mow?
no, areas where it might be patchy?
I would.
Not that I can think of right at the moment.
Okay.
I mean, it's definitely something we can look at,
Maybe you need to talk to the ball committee, maybe they wanna see.
The diamonds
see-
would be-
See the infield diamond.
The diamonds would be a good.
I'm kidding.
Oh, the infield.
Huh?
Not the
Like
infield, the
infield.
outfield would be a
I was
good thing
thinking
for slits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Would be good for that, cause that definitely needs to have something done.
that needs a lot.
I bought some grass seed and stuff that I'm gonna try and spray around this spring, but that doesn't guarantee anything, so.
I think the expense of that in the outfield is gonna be, I mean, you can get a price for split seeding it, but it's gonna be expensive.
Yeah, so,
And then with the water that lays out there all the time, it's just gonna kill it anyway.
right.
Cause I think you mainly have weeds out there now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When did
Well,
they recommend
that's-
to do
It's
that?
cause of
Hydro seeding in the spring or fall?
water. like-
Well, technically, they said this should have been done in the fall, but they could do it in the spring.
Well, my concern is, I hate to see it all wash away because it's not been time to germinate through the thing. Maybe we hold off and do the thing and maybe dress areas down there too at the same time
Yeah.
in the fall. Get them on the books for the fall.
Okay,
That's my opinion because,
Yeah.
they're gonna be,
That,
it's gonna
that,
be springtime. Say they come out in April. Ground
Right.
temperature's still down a little bit, whatever, but then everybody's wanting to get out and fish and they're just gonna trample over anyways.
right, okay.
I just wanna see it done.
I will say that I've had hydro seeding done in the spring and it worked well, very,
Right.
very well. In fact, it was the best I've seen.
Well, when they did that down there the second time, it was even
No,
though it was past
hydroseeding.
temperature, it was still growing down
The
there.
only way to go if you can
Yeah.
afford it.
Right,
and that is a lot of area. That price actually doesn't seem too bad.
right.
So,
I don't think you save money by bringing them out for one big deal. So I'm concerned about the erosion down there too. I mean, if they feel that they could get it done in spring, I would be inclined.
That's a
You'll just have to-
they could do it again in the fall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just
There
have
you go.
to flag it or caution tape or whatever.
Right,
Hopefully nobody runs over it, but I think you're running the risk of more erosion longer.
right.
yeah, and I mean, people, do go out there a lot. That's probably, the most feedback that I get from like people I talk to is, how nice the reservoir is looking. So like, that week that you cleaned it up,
Oh, yeah, we had a couple people stop in the office just recently.
like literally people I've never heard of, like even contacted me like a month ago or whatever. Yeah. 2 months ago.
No, it wasn't too much, it was just a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to keep it clean. I don't think a clean reservoir is something that people are gonna wanna go like everything else. If it's nice, they're gonna go out there and use it. If you got a bunch of trees growing up all over the place and a bunch of, you know, cattails all over and everything else all over the place, nobody's gonna wanna go out there, so I just think just trying to keep it clean out there and makes it look better and
We're planning on doing a bunch of, a couple, ice water rescue trainings out there this.
got some trees if you guys wanna plant,
I don't want to be fine. I want to be able to walk on the reservoir, fall in.
I imagine that the,
It's over.
imagine that skimming over with some ice now.
I'm sure, but it's too cold for me to get my thing in there. Heck, no, no scuba Steve here.
You'll only do ice rescue training if it's above zero.
No, it's an eerie feeling.
It's very, very.
When I went into when I did the one over in Bowling Green, I literally, they had to cut out. I think, and I went, they told you to sit down, and they said slide in. I slid in and slid all the way in, and then kept on going until I got back up. I'm like,
then you look.
I wasn't worried about it, but boy,
Oh, that's
that's a little
scary.
frigid.
That's
a little scary.
And not see, and not be able to know that you can't get out unless you go through that hole again, yeah.
So, anybody don't use.
Is most of the danger just in like your body getting shocked by the cold or?
No.
Well, it's when somebody, like the guy who sold us the suit, who sold us the suits, so how much I weighed, he goes, you're probably not the guy to go out there. I go, I'm the only guy that can swim. Compared to some of the other people, you know, I mean, it's an eerie feeling. You break the ice every time you go out there, every time you get out there, but that's the potential of cutting the suit. Water goes rushing in there. Now you just got a big old water balloon.
There you go.
And talk about fishermen getting sunk down because their waders filled with water.
I was just gonna say that.
I've seen kids walk on it, so I think that's a great idea.
Seeing kids walk on one
The ice,
on the reservoir.
yes,
That's
You
terrible.
actually got water gear now.
yeah, and
Oh, I know you do.
I've had conversations with them that we just care about their safety and please don't do that. Anything for Ken? All right, couple committee reports, the ball program from the 9th. Start with that.
All right. In attendance, we had Ken Myers, Luann Hunt, Dennis Sauter, Janetti Zamarippa, Jared Parcell, Angie Scheidler, Jerry Moeller, and Dean Babcock, and Jessica Sousa. They did the blanket PO for $5,000 to be used for equipment, and the inventory of equipment is going to be taken before the next meeting. Online registration is being arranged collaboratively with the OTB at Seago Town Ball via Angie Scheidler. Additionally, flyers and social media posts are being arranged to be distributed in the coming week with the addition of a social assistance program. The social assistance program will be 100% paid for those that can show proof of family federal assistance, like an insurance card or something like that. They discussed paying to get more in-depth background checks for coaches and umpires, either through Greg Johns or the Sheriff's Department. Portage is also trying to form a board to start a league, and Janetti is going to reach out to see what their goals are and make sure that they're in the same league with them. They discussed adding an additional bracket for the sponsorship letter that would potentially include adding a business logo to the like a uniform sponsorship, so a business logo to their uniforms. Genoa League Zoom meeting. They have a Zoom meeting on January 29th at 7 p.m. And then the OTB League meeting got set up during their meeting by Angie Scheidler for Tuesday, January 16th at 6:30 in the old fire hall in Grand Rapids. And that location needed to be confirmed, but that's the time and the date they set. Decided in-person village signups will be 1 to 3 p.m. February 17th and 18th here at the Village Hall. And then they discussed having photos done by Ginger Karis for the teams, potentially having a field cleanup day with used equipment and or uniform training, and maybe revisiting the opening day events. All of the team coaches are returning from last year except for one team. The facilities and logistics manager position, board member position, was filled by Jared Parcell and sworn in that day by me. And the next youth league meeting is Wednesday, January 24th at 7 p.m. So if we have a calendar somewhere, I know there used to be one in here with events.
Yeah,
It's right
we
in the
have the big one in the hallway. I will,
Okay,
stick in
the
there, yep.
signups and then their next meeting. And that's it.
Rec board from the 10th.
6:30, we have Samantha Gershitz, Stephanie Mons, Christine Wong, Shelby McClellan, Shannon Dussault, Logan Wick, Brittany, and myself. Brittany's resignation due to becoming a council person was accepted, and Shelby McClellan was sworn in the board. So that gives them a full board now, I think, doesn't it? Discussed possibly moving the meeting date, no change at this time. Samantha presented doing monthly or weekly programs during the day. Discussed calling it Weston Seas program, summer or seasonal. I'm sorry, let me start that again. Summer or seasonal education event series. So there's a lot to talk about that. Events most likely to return are the color run and the glow party and the block party. Christine presented a community field day idea. Stephanie gave us an update on the soup swap. People seem to be discouraged from registering, so the event will be promoted more as a soup swap, registration optional. People that want to participate, just bring their soup between 2 and 3 on Saturday, January 20th from 3 to 5 at the maintenance building. Stephanie also presented upcoming events, including Earth Day on Sunday, April 21st with budget 300, game night Saturday, March 2nd with a budget of $100. Both of us had unanimous approval. Stephanie is also planning on putting together an ongoing scavenger hunt at the parks and starting a couple of fairy garden themed geocaches. Stephanie requested approval to purchase solar eclipse glasses for Weston residents to pick up.
Those are available at the library.
Oh, that's good to know.
Okay, cool.
I know that they
Yeah.
kind of botched it last time around, so.
Well, yeah,
They have it in stock.
well,
Yeah, I don't think we like,
Is it reliable? Okay.
they have big announcement.
Did they get-
They have,
through the grant that was out there, or they just,
they're all over the place. You can get them for nothing.
yeah.
You just have to ask for them.
Okay.
50 for $34.99. So that's
Save money.
Yeah,
Stephanie shared she is also planning a space night program around the time of the Perseid meteor shower, aiming for August 10th. Times would probably be about 10 to midnight. That's it.
Awesome. I am sorry I missed both those meetings. I definitely was not,
You're not sorry.
I was gonna say, you're not sorry, you were in Florida.
definitely not enjoying myself. Okay, is everyone okay with the upcoming meetings? It's like we got a question on administrative process.
We kind of postponed it last time because committees weren't set yet, so I don't know if
Okay.
you still want to schedule one for January or not.
We also need to add the special committee
Right. Um, are the three of you like still interested in serving that committee? For like kind of getting stuff together to move, baseball, help baseball get to a 501(c)(3). And I don't think that involves like really like setting up meetings with them, except maybe, at some point, getting with Ken or whatever. I think it's something that can kind of be done.
It can be done online.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to sit down and do it. It's not all that bad. Like I said, I've done it.
Well, just answering all the identifying and answering all the questions that have been brought up.
The special committee's gonna have to go away at a certain point, I would think.
Right. Yeah. I would say once we're, happy that we've answered and provided every piece of assistance and information that we can, then yeah, the committee would go away.
And I'm hoping that they get to the 501(c)(3) soon. I'd like to see their fundraising money go there.
Yeah, I mean, that would be one of the first questions that could be figured out. So
Based on being there, I think they're heading in that direction. I think it's,
good.
If they're gonna fundraise, I want their money with them. I want us having to deal with it. But I do know it'll take 3 months for the IRS to get back to you. That's what it takes to get everything, your EIN number.
Okay, so we'll, continue that committee or reform that committee, however that works.
We want to have an administrative process meeting this month. There's an extra Monday.
I was gonna say, it looks like next Monday and the 29th is available.
Either one.
Yeah.
You guys are up for it.
You want to do the 29th?
Yep.
Seems like a good fit. We'll do the 29th for that.
And what
Six
time?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Is that okay for you?
Mhm.
What time does your alarm go off so we can end?
Right now we're we're post peak, so
Nice.
it's not going off at 9 anymore.
Okay, community development and public affairs on the 18th, this Thursday at 5.
And I will be at it, but I will have to leave at 6:50.
What time is that one
5 o'clock.
on Thursday?
Okay, public works on the 23rd. That's next Tuesday. Does that work, Rick?
Yep.
6 o'clock. Does that work, Brittany?
Yeah, sure, Jeremy, it works for me too.
Yep. I assume. You're easy.
I'll be there.
Well, yeah. Okay, and then obviously safety at 5:30 on the 25th. That's a go?
Yeah.
Okay. And then like for the 4 committees, like if let's see, that'd be Rick. I mean, you work every day 8 to 5, is that
7 to 3:30.
7 to 3:30?
Yeah, I'm home by 4-ish.
Okay. Well, I'd like to get, the committee chair and Stephanie and myself, together, sit down just for a little bit so that we can, kind of do what we were talking about, just, streamlining our committee meetings and hopefully resulting in, better minutes and, just,
Is there a problem with my minutes?
Not yours.
No, I don't know that specifically, just I think I brought it before, I've had someone kind of harass me about, how we're not, making our committee meeting minutes, available online. And I know that they're just kind of,
They should be more, you wanted a more of a narrative,
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, so
kind of like our,
a little bit more in depth.
something that I,
yeah,
that we could
versus
post
a
and,
notes type summary thing, yeah.
but
You're looking for a secretary, you're looking for the wrong person.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yours were pretty good.
I'll review them and get back with you.
About that time, you can have the committee.
But I think everyone else maybe has the opportunity to meet sometime during the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime 2:30 after 2.
Rob, you're around, right?
Yeah, I'm retired.
Right. So I thought, okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, within the next couple of weeks, that'd be cool. Just let me know what days work and I can arrange my schedule. Stephanie is usually here till 3:30. So maybe by 2. Okay, I think that takes care of meetings. Oh, the special committee. When did you guys want to start your first meeting?
Do we want to wait till February and do we want to fit one in?
Depends on what you plan on getting done.
Well, Parks and Rec already has Valentine's Day covered, so what days of the week work good for you?
I think we've been doing it were we doing it on a Tuesday? My phone just started.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So I think we have the 6th and the 13th and the 20th. It looks like available.
Brittany's gonna have to be there, right?
Yeah, no, not
Oh,
necessarily.
the 20th
She's
is,
liaison.
Yeah, she's liaison to the board. I mean, she could be, if she wants. I
Now,
mean,
there is a problem with that, though. That is a public meeting. There would be 4 of us.
yeah. I mean, she could, if you did want to be there, you could sit in on it, but yeah, obviously we'd want to collaborate with her.
the 20th actually isn't available. I just
Oh.
didn't move the council meeting over yet
Oh, okay,
because of the holiday.
do that.
How many holidays do we go?
I think this one and the Labor Day one is the last 2 that have to be moved to a Tuesday.
Do that.
President's Day, right?
What? Yeah, it's President's Day.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
That's one, man.
Do you want to do the 13th then?
Is that the second Tuesday?
That's
Is
the
that
second Tuesday.
normally your administrative process? or-
No, we're on Mondays.
Oh, you're on Mondays.
it's on Monday.
Okay.
Are,
Oh, yeah,
are
that
you,
might have-
are you okay with having 3 meetings that week?
I don't know.
Well, I have 4. I'm the one that should be.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And
Maybe a different week then.
No, that's fine. I don't care. I'd rather, line it up and get it done.
Okay. But Dean gets to take care of all his commitments in 1 week. I think everyone else is actually jobless.
The rest of the month.
so when is it?
Screw up the other 3.
Monday, Tuesday,
Coast
Thursday.
right through the rest of the month.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably fine.
Okay.
February 13th?
Yeah.
What time?
What time were we doing? 6?
6.
I think that's what we were doing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna complain about 6, so. All right, new business, there's a resolution in there for gov deals. Any
Yes.
questions about that?
I was gonna say, this is the first time I got an email from Paul that was like, here's a resolution. I was like, I didn't ask for one, but apparently, most often when we want to sell stuff on gov deals, you pass a resolution when you do that. But I guess there's state statute that says that you can just pass a resolution at the beginning of the year and it covers you for the whole year. You just have to make sure you do your proper publication when you do go to sell a specific item, so
What are we selling?
nothing.
No.
It's just a thing that if
Well,
you sell something, it'll be in place.
Any questions about that, Brittany?
Hold it up, I'm looking at it, let's call
We have to do 3 readings on this, or?
Yeah, there's no rush for it.
All right, so this constitutes first reading of resolution for authorizing the sale of village property by internet auction.
I have a question for that. That carry over to EMS?
Yep.
It's a village property.
As it's village.
I get it, but is it really, but it's not, I don't, it's all about that.
Has everyone had a chance to review the bills?
Yes, you got a question.
Okay,
Actually, I got a couple.
all right.
I got, there's a bill in there for Liberty Township.
Mhm.
Can you explain that?
It's for the stone, we had them, cause
Oh.
Out here on, what is it, Van Tassel?
Yep.
From the semis, that destroyed the road, that destroyed the edge of the road.
Yeah,
They came in, we went over and talked to them and asked if they could come out and use their truck with the side bucket on it or the thing on it to fill it in alongside the road. Because we went over to the county and the county told us that they will no longer help town or help villages
do berm.
do berm or do any work at all for some reason. I don't know why, but they said they would not help us out with that. So we contacted Liberty Township because it's Tom Pat Jr. and asked him if they were able to come out here and put the berm down alongside the road out there to keep it from getting worse than it already is.
They have a burn gate on it.
Yeah, he had a berm gate on the truck and come out, did 3 loads and got all the stone put
And,
down and
The grain elevator.
elevator paid for the stone.
Should be paying for the
They
stone. They
will
have
be
not
paying for the
yet.
stone.
I thought that,
Yeah, we paid for the stone. We invoiced the grain elevator.
that's the Stone Cove
Yep.
invoices.
Yeah, the elevator is paying for the stone. Cause they said that since it was their trucks that screwed it up, coming in and out of there, that they would pay for the stone to have.
Well, the problem they had is the elevator was short on space. So people were just parking their trucks on the side of the road
Yeah,
overnight.
yeah,
It was a cluster hack.
it quickly degraded,
Yeah.
you know.
And the other question I had was, I remember here, trash. You took loads to the dumpster, the thing, that was one of the maintenance reports?
That was, yes, that was from that big pile that was out back behind the reservoir. We had taken three loads to the dump, just of trash. That was just, all the stuff that couldn't be thrown in the dump or be thrown in a dumpster. We had 3 loads of that. Then we had a heavy roll-off dumpster that got rid of half of what was out there. And we don't have enough to get another heavy roll-off dumpster to get rid of the rest of it. But we was able to get rid of everything else that we could get rid of. So now we're down to a small pile out there for what was out there. So,
Yeah, there was just, those things didn't have description and I was just curious.
yeah,
And that's like what, like stone and logs and,
we got rid of all the stone, or not all stone, but we got rid of all the wood that was out back. Cause there were some big chunks and we were able to take those over to that place that we got the mulch from for the parts. So we took that over to them, but was able to get rid of it all, cause they got big equipment over there that'll take them big chunks and just eat them up. So we was able to get rid of all that stuff and get almost everything cleaned up out back. So that was like the biggest part of it.
all right, cool. Any other questions? All right, do we have a motion to pay the bills?
Oh, one other quick, I
Yeah.
did have to think of it. You received 2 different folders. You want to explain that to them, Stephanie?
Yeah, so one folder is, bills that are already paid. I don't know if you noticed on the inside of it, I kind of listed some of our I don't know, obligations, I guess, that have to be paid. And then the other one will be, I guess, outstanding invoices, things that have not yet been paid that will come to council for approval to be paid. As long as it's before the next due date, if the meetings fall in line. So,
And Paul and I are still going over a couple other items for that, so via email.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Anything miscellaneous? Shirley, anything for council?
You only got 5 minutes, Shirley. Says it right here.
I've never talked over 5 minutes.
Oh,
I just say what I got to say.
you take it up for it. Go ahead.
I don't have nothing.
Okay.
I was sick last week, so I made it this week.
Well, we're glad you're better.
I think I'm gonna put, no trespassing sign on my side of the yard where they cut my grass. And then if they say anything, I'll say I'm gonna get my trimmer out and cut those trees off my property.
Best of luck.
What?
Which property?
That bitch down the road.
That's really.
Shirley, nothing.
Shirley says nothing.
All right. Shirley said she had nothing.
Wrote down. We got one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Dallas.
He's got to unmute himself. You're fine.
He didn't hear me, did he?
Possibly.
He heard you.
Ron, are you with us? Oh, there you go. Okay, awesome.
Follow that.
All right, awesome.
Tell me the truth.
Adjourned.
I can't believe they're still mowing.
Whoops.